that's just a little sample of Jamaica or Jameko, tune from Playford's Dancing Master. That's an old 17th and 18th century English collection of dance music. That music would have been popular in the English colonies in America as well, and conceivably could have been played on an early banjo like this. Now, this one is my latest one. It's inspired by the instruments that are depicted in an account by a man named Hans Sloane. Sloane was an Anglo-Irish physician and naturalist who came to the British West Indies in the 1600s. Around actually 1688 or 1687, 88, he visited Jamaica, hence the choice of that tune, and several of the other islands down there. And he documented, like I said, some instruments that were essentially, they were early banjos. We don't know a lot about them. How many strings they had, for instance, is unclear. The illustration looks like only 2, but the instrument also doesn't seem to have a bridge in the illustration, so it kind of looks like it might be incomplete. And there's some marks on the neck in the illustration that look like they could be places where tuning pegs once were, but might be missing, or they could just be decoration. You'll notice some of the key features I tried to replicate was the peg head design. Pardon the messy strings, which has a very African look to it in the original that I tried to copy. The plank neck. Actually, I don't think this is exactly the way that neck was joined in the original, but you really can't tell. To me, it looks like in the original, it may not have any sort of heel to it, but just kind of slides like just a plank right in. Maybe there might even be notches, but you can't see in the image where it just kind of locks into the neck of the gourd. But this is what I decided on for the construction. It seemed like the sturdiest way to do it, and most attractive as well, I thought. It would also, you'll notice one thing about this, there's no back angle. It's a perfectly straight neck, but it is, you can play a little bit up here, up the neck. Another feature I tried to replicate, I liked how on the original, the head kind of came up to the edges and seemed to overlap the edge of the neck of the gourd there. This bridge is not the final one I want to put on there. This is just a placeholder. I actually am not totally done with this one. I'm kind of I won't say I rushed it, but I was working until late hours of the night to get this to a playable state, because I have to go to Virginia tomorrow for Batos and Banjos. That's the annual event I run up at James River State Park. Beautiful location, way out in the country at the foot of the Blue Ridge Mountain on the James River. This is kind of an 1850s style music festival, if you will, and we've got a great lineup this year. We got John Allen playing, Carl Anderton, Mark Weems, Cliff Hicks, Carson Hudson, Banjo Cam Smith, who you might know from some of his YouTube videos, Brian Gordy, that's Old Scarecrow. Do come out if you're in Central Virginia. Come out Saturday, June 20th to James River State Park. The big attraction for the music, that's going to be between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. on Saturday down at the canoe landing. And we'll have a big living history set up there, and should be there might even be some bateaus putting in there this weekend. So you won't want to miss that. Anyway, so I was trying to get this done in time to take up there. I've got a few little tweaks I want to do to it to get it in the most playable condition for my buddy Jonah that this is going to. So one of the difficulties I was having with this, or challenges, so you'll notice this does not have a nut in the traditional European sense. I wanted to make this more like an early African-American instrument as much as possible. So that meant, although most of the African-related instruments that the banjo derives from or is related to, they tend to have more of a stick neck, like just a round stick, basically, and which looks like, I haven't played one, but I've seen it done, and it's amazing to watch because you'd think it would be unplayable. Actually, I think I did try to play an accounting once, and there's going to be a steep learning curve for anybody that's used to a Western style neck. However, it is interesting that the Sloane instruments do have a very flat fingerboard, unlike those early unlike those contemporary and traditional African-related instruments that have the stick neck. But most of those instruments also, some of them do have tuning pegs. I don't know how recent that is in an adaptation, if that's a European influence that's been added lately on contemporary banjo-related instruments in Africa. But most of them, they actually, the strings are tied on, and then they're pulled, they're adjusted, they're tuned by adjusting their length or their tension at the same time, length and tension going together. So I have pegs on this, which I guess could be it looks like they're pegs on the Sloane instrument, but maybe that's an early adaptation of European instrument building techniques. And like I was talking about the nut, which this doesn't have, it seems that a lot of the early banjos probably they just tied so there's no back angle on the peg head, if you can call it that, at all. And it seems that a lot of the early banjos instead of having a nut there, they simply wound a piece of leather or some string of some sort around the strings up there in place of a nut. So that's what I've done there. This is not an easy instrument to play. It's taken me a while to get used to the scale length with it, which is a little shorter, but that's not the hardest thing. It's just it intonates a little differently. We went out of tune there. it intonates differently having this piece of leather around there rather than a traditional nut. And it just takes some getting used to, but doesn't have a bad sound. I think it'll sound better once I get a proper bridge on there instead of this placeholder I've got. I probably made that for one of my first banjos I made, and but it's just one I had lying around. And yeah, just give y'all a look at that. I didn't do the best job probably of tacking those in, but it's part. The reason is I actually intentionally didn't measure a lot of things on this instrument. I pretty much just eyeballed everything to give it a more organic, if you will, a more organic aesthetic. So everything is just by feel, just what looked and felt right as I was shaping it. And in fact, this is a recycled head off of one of my early banjos that I had used a old grain sifter, and it got cracked, but the head was still intact. So I wasn't sure if it would work to reuse an old head, but it looked like it was fine. So I just stuck it in the water for about half an hour and stretched it on there, and seemed to do the job. You might have noticed I also wedged just a piece of wood in the back of there to get a little extra tension on the strings there. Could be tighter still, but if that's not tight down on those strings, it's going to be, it doesn't sound very good at all. It's very difficult to play. And like I say, it could be tighter than it is now. But anyway, there you go. I'll probably play this a little bit this weekend, so maybe you'll see some videos of it. All right, well, thanks for tuning in, and hope to see you in Virginia this weekend. And y'all take care. Bye.